This type of canvas is made of fine weave linen. It's stretched over and fixed to a wood panel. The hard backing prevents the linen from flexing under the paintbrush. The face of the panel is made of 6mm thick Baltic birch. After cutting a piece that matches the dimensions of the finished canvas, pieces of sturdier basswood are cut for the cradle. After cutting one long strip to the required width, the lengths of the cradle's 5 parts are marked off: 4 perimeter pieces and a cross brace. These parts are then cut. The ends of the perimeter pieces are then mitered at a 45-degree angle, so that the pieces mate when assembled to form the cradle. To assemble the cradle, wood glue is spread on the mitered pieces, which are then joined to form a rectangle. 2 of the corners are clamped to a 90-degree block to ensure that the angles are square. The corner joints are also reinforced with V-shaped staples. After removing the clamps and squares, the cross brace is glued in the middle. After checking the brace has been fitted square, it's nailed to the perimeter. Next, wood glue is applied to the top of the cradle frame, and the wood panel is then placed into position. Clamps are then set all around the perimeter, and the cradle is set aside overnight to let the glue dry. The next day, any panel overhang is sanded flat, so that the edge of the panel is flush with the cradle. The manufacturing information is then burned into the back of the finished panel. Next, the linen being used for this canvas is portrait grade, the finest and smoothest weave. It's been primed with linseed oil to allow oil paint to penetrate enough to adhere, but not absorb into the fabric. The wood panel's dimensions are measured and marked out, adding 10 centimeters all round to allow for extra linen to wrap around the cradle. Once marked, the piece is cut out. This manufacturer also makes wood panel canvases using linen primed with white lead or acrylic gesso. This is a white acrylic liquid that dries into a stiff coating. The cradle panel is centered upside down on the linen and then traced around. The panel is then flipped right side up, and its surface is coated with a special archival pH-neutral glue. This is used because ordinary adhesives contain acid, which degrade the linen over time. The panel is then again flipped, placed within the trace lines drawn earlier, and pressed firmly against the linen. The assembly is then mounted on a stretching machine. Canvases must always be stretched to prevent contraction and expansion due to changes in humidity. Starting with the longest sides first, the machine pulls the linen taut and folds it over the edge of the cradle. Staples are then used to secure the stretched linen to the wood. After stretching and stapling both sides, the corners are folded and stapled. The canvas is then rotated to stretch the short sides. Once they're stretched and stapled, the wood panel canvas is finished and ready to be the recipient of some artistic inspiration. Right, it's hardly the Mona Lisa, is it?